What's up everybody, Dr. McKay here, welcome back to another guide video on Space Engineers. Today we are going to be going over rotors and pistons, the menu within them, to basically help break down how to use them and to make it easier for those who get confused while in the menu. So, as you can see, I've been busy on here like previously, and another thing I want to discuss quick before we begin the video is, obviously, those of you who watch my channel regularly, obviously have noticed that I haven't put out a lot of Space Engineers content recently. Simply because I'm the only one who records, edits and uploads my videos, so obviously my time is limited with having 3 kids as well, so obviously me playing Space Engineers all the time obviously means I don't have any chance to play any other games, obviously, so I'm trying to spread out my videos into different obviously games. Obviously I've done Avengers, Sea of Thieves, as well as a couple others, but we're back today because I've had a much needed request by one of my comments on YouTube asking me to break down rotors and pistons. So with all that said, let's go straight into it and show you what and how to use pistons and rotors. Now first I would like to show you things that you could do with them, like simple things like this. What I got here, I have a rotor, obviously a small grid rotor, on a door. Now it only is set up to open and shut the door for this starship of mine. So it's basically it, just one rotor, and obviously you need to use blast door blocks to be able to get it to tightly fit, otherwise it doesn't fit properly. So there you go. Oh, I pressed the wrong button. Well, this is the piston. It pushes it out. It helps for docking if you're in space. And this is basically what I want to show you today, is how to use pistons and rotors in the most simplest terms by going into the menu and just explaining to you what does what in the menu. So this is what you can do. Obviously this is a starship I've been building, which is a 1-to-1 scale of what SpaceX is building at the minute in Boca Chica, Texas. So with that little bit there done, let's go over to what I'm going to be showing you. So here we have a normal piston, a large grid, and an advanced rotor, but this works on a normal rotor as well. So essentially you want to make sure you name your pistons and rotors to easily find them. So obviously I've named this one Piston 5 Guide to show you, and I've named that one Advanced Rotor Guide, and it makes it easier to find it in the menu. Ooh. So basically you want to have a control panel or button panel nearby where you have your pistons or rotors. Now obviously on a piston you can do it by the button panel on the piston, but the rotors don't, so we kind of need to have one here anyway. So we go in, find what you want. So obviously the rotor and the piston. So firstly we'll go have a look at the rotor. So click on the rotor in the menu, and it comes up with all your standard stuff like toggle block, terminal, whatnot. And as you come down, you have now the stuff that we are now going to be looking at. So share inertia tensor basically means that as you stack stuff on the pistons and rotors, sometimes it starts to wobble, because obviously what it does. But if you share inertia tensor, basically it stops it from wobbling and makes it more sturdy, especially if you've got drill heads on top of them. But we're not going to cover that today. But obviously if you do build, say, drill heads on pistons and they do wobble all over the place, try adding inertia tensor on, and it should stabilize it from going all over the place. Now rotors have options of add rotor head or add a small head. So if you wanted to take off the large rotor head and then place a small one on to add small grid to your large grid, which I've covered in a previous video, that's how you do it. But you have to grind away the head first. And then you got reverse and detach. Now reverse basically just like once you've set it up, it'll basically do the opposite of what you set it up. So if you have on a piston it to extend, and you do reverse, it'll then retract. And on the rotor, basically the same thing. If you've got set to spin all the way around, say 180 degrees, and it stops, then you do reverse, it will spin back to where it started. Detach just pops the head off, so if you need to get rid of it quick. and obviously to attach a head is if you are manually attaching a head. Rotor lock basically just locks it in position. The torque is how much power is going in it, so if you have something large that's spinning and it's not giving that oomph you need, try and up the torque. So if you, like on my SpaceX videos, I have a crawler that lifts the rocket up in place. You have to have the torque up quite high because the motor is just not strong enough to lift it up. So you turn it up and it'll eventually lift, so it's trial by error. Braking torque is basically the same for, like, if it's falling down, you can do it so it slows down so it falls straight down. Velocity is how you turn it. So if I just showed, for example, see the rotor head turning on the right? So obviously that's going obviously clockwise, and the other way is going anti-clockwise. But before we do that, we want to set up your lower limit and your upper limit. Now these can get a bit confusing because the rotor will kind of reset itself, and these kind of go the opposite of how you set it. But if you essentially only want it to go 90 degrees, like with a door, right, you set, oh, too far. You set your lower limit to 0. Once I get there, it's a bit hard, especially with the D-pad. Right, set it to 0, and then you do your upper limit to 90. Then you want to increase your velocity. Let's do, just go a bit quick to demonstrate. And it should stop. See, now it's just reset. Now it should stop at 90. There you go. Now it's stopped at 90 degrees. But it looks a bit, no, it looks alright. So basically that's how it works. But you did see how it reset itself because of it being like that. So now we've set it to have the angle at 90 degrees and the velocity at 3 RPMs. Now if you was to click reverse, it'll spin it back the other way, and reverse just basically does it backwards forwards. Now you can set it to 180 degrees or have it just spinning completely. Now if you have it spinning completely, then you kind of want to have it so you can either turn down the velocity to almost 0 and then add rotor lock on, and that will stop it in place. And obviously it locks in place, but obviously it's not exactly ideal in a situation where you want to do it quickly or proficiently. So you have to tinker around with it to get what you want. Maybe have it lock just before 360 degrees, so it does a full rotation but it stops, and then you can reverse it. It's up to you. But if you do want it to constantly keep spinning, then obviously you just have to let it go and then work out how you're going to stop it later on. And obviously you got rotor displacement, which is the other thing on the rotor, which is quite important when you're doing doors, because what you want to do to begin with, you want to put your rotor displacement all the way down like that, and then build your door, and then once your door and you want to put it in the frame, you increase the height of it to fit just snug on your door. Now I'll show you what I mean in a minute on the Starship door, but that's essentially the rotor's menu. So I hope you find that helpful, and if you are stuck still on how to operate the rotor, just leave me a comment down below. Now let's move on to the piston. Now the piston is very easy. Now, like I said, you could do it within the menu or the button panel on the piston itself. Now once you're in the piston, you have basically the same thing. You've got share inertia tensure, so if you've got like 5 pistons on one another, and as you extend it, it starts to wobble. If you share the inertia tensure, it will basically make it more stable. So as it says, it equalizes virtual mass and of grids, connected grids, to achieve more stable behavior, so it doesn't wobble all over the place, but sometimes it still can if it's acting very clangish. Now it's already set to have 5 meters a second already on velocity when you place it down, so you can already press reverse and it will extend it and retract it, so it's basically already set up for you. But if you want it to be faster, you can just up it to wherever you want. So let's do 3 meters a second, and you'll see how fast it goes. Alright, see, and now it goes really fast, and press it again, it comes back. And that's basically it for the piston in terms of making it go up and down. But you do have maximum distance and minimum distance.
Energy low.
The maximum distance on a piston is 10 meters on the large, and I think it's 3 on a small grid, not entirely sure. And essentially, if you are making something that can't fully extend the distance, or you're making, let's say, an elevator, but the last piston if it was fully extended, it would go through the roof. You just basically shorten it to, I don't know, let's give an example. Let's do 5 meters. There you go. And then when you extend it, as you can see on the right column, it will say current position 5 meters. Now you can adjust it if it's too short by just hopping back on the maximum distance while it's going that way, and the piston will extend as you make it longer. And obviously the minimum distance does the same thing, so let's just go 6 meters for that. So when I reverse it, it'll stop there, and then I can do the same thing. I can retract it myself by using it to get the much needed precise measurement if you have a precise build you're doing. And the maximum impulse, I'm not entirely sure, I don't really touch it, but I can imagine it's the strength of the piston. So obviously the higher it is, the more power it has, and the opposite is less power. So I don't really understand these two yet. I haven't got that into it, so maybe look at another YouTuber's videos if you want to understand that. Maybe they have that, but I have not a lot of clue on them. I just leave them as it is, and if it doesn't work, just tweak with it. But that's essentially it with the pistons and the rotors. So now you should have a basic understanding of how to use each of them in the menu, and I'll quickly show you over the Starship what I mean with the rotor displacement. So let me just come in here. I'll shut this door. So the rotor displacement is here. Alright, so it goes obviously up and down. Now as you can see, it's quite a nice snug fit. It's still a little bit of a gap. Now I can make it even tighter by simply doing one thing. Go to a button menu, and now you find the rotor on here. I think it's Starship Rotor, I think I named it. There it is, Starship Door. So come down. Obviously, as you can see, I've set it to 2.8 RPMs. I have the lower limit as 0 and upper limit as 100 degrees because I needed to open a little bit more. There's the rotor displacement. Now, if you watch the rotor, so it's gone down. Now, obviously, it's clanging a bit because it's touching the bottom, but you can obviously increase it to fit the hull. But you're gonna have to put it down low to be able to fit it in the slot anyway. So best get used to tweaking with it. Now I think that was about right, so just come out and have a look. There you go. I've actually made it a bit more tighter as well. Now you check your door, make sure it doesn't clang, and there you go. And that's basically how you use a rotor as a door. Obviously rotors can be used for a multitude of things. That's essentially it. And obviously my Starship inside,
no energy,
is upside down. Oh, there we go. Is work in progress. Obviously there's all my engines in there because, well, I ain't got powerful enough engines in the stock game to lift this beast off the ground, and it's still hollow in the middle with only one control seat up here. So I still have yet to figure out how I'm doing the nose cone. But I've got the flaps, well, the ailerons, and obviously that is my engines. As you can see, it kind of is what Starship's going to be. Obviously they're the sea level Raptor engines, and these are going to be the vacuum optimized light-esque. But yeah, that it does launch off the Earthlight planet. But yeah, so I hope you found this video helpful on rotors and pistons, on how to navigate the menu correctly. And if you have any questions or comments on anything else that you're stuck with or anything like that, please comment me down below in the description, and in the comments, and I'll do my very best to answer any questions you have. And if you like the video, please hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe. It does help my channel out. I'm trying to reach 500 subscribers because I am giving away the new Star Wars Squadrons game when I hit 500. So if you want to get a chance to win that, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. I've been Dr. McKay. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers.